for clicking on the video. My name's Leah, and we're about to recap Real Housewives of New Jersey. This is season 12, episode 8. They about to fight in the woods at the team building event. Y'all know I sometimes bring y'all the drama that I get on my timeline as it pertains to certain shows that I watch. So y'all, supposedly, allegedly, because I don't know how true this is, because I ain't seen no article about it, but this was made on and I'm gonna post the screenshot, but this is off of a Bravo page called Bravo Housewives, and it says Andy Cohen says security will be needed at next week's Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion filming. And it says the Real Housewives of New Jersey season 12 reunion will be filmed next week. And Andy Cohen says security will be present. The reasoning behind this decision will become more apparent as the season continues. And we all know it's for Teresa. It is for Teresa. And Teresa, stop being stupid. Girl, don't be out here trying to jeopardize your freedom from Margaret or Louis. The hell wrong with you? But we know it's probably going to be because she went charging after Margaret out at the end of the episode. We're going to talk about that mess. And then in the trailer, when we see Teresa whop, she was hitting them glasses at that restaurant when it comes to her riff with Margaret when she wanted to do something. And y'all know, honestly, Teresa not gonna bust a grape because Teresa don't want to end up back in jail. But Teresa throws things when she gets angry, because she almost did it last season with Jackie when she was about to grab something in Margaret's house to throw, and that hand goes up like this. She wanted to hit somebody. So the way I see this, yo, this is not Mob Wives. This is not Mob Wives. R.I.P. to Big Ange. Mob Wives was never the same when that lady went on to be in mobster heaven, going to be with Glory. Because she was so wonderful. She was just, and it sucked that she died from cancer. But it's not Mob Wives. These women are not, them women were throwing hands in Mob Wives. Drita, Karen, what's her name? Renee tried to choke somebody out. Legitimately walked up on that girl and so my thing is we're not getting that. Y'all are not doing that. So this is stupid. Stupid. Let's get into this reunion. No, this episode opens up and we see Jennifer getting ready, anxious as all get out, doing her makeup, talking to Bill. When I tell you that hand was going fast, and then the leg was shaking. I've been there. So she was really anxious. And then Margaret talking to Joe. And my thing about Joe is there's nothing wrong with you gossiping with your wife. It's just every time we see you, you look more and more like her sidekick and not her husband. Whereas everybody else kind of has a vibe there's somewhat of equalness, I would say, but not really. But it's just Margaret and Joe looks like Margaret's little friend. That's just what he looks like. He doesn't look like her husband. I just think if he would lessen how much he talks trash with Margaret on camera. Cause my thing is talk trash with your husband, but girl, don't do it all on camera. Lessen it a little bit, Joe. So they meet up and Jennifer is visibly in distress. And y'all know I love Jennifer. Y'all know I do. But I understand why a lot of the Jennifer stans are pissed off at her. A few people I saw were they unstand her. I don't stand none of these housewives, but I was kind of shocked to see people be they don't want to mess with her no more after this. And I understand this because Jennifer has built herself up as this, she's this, this viper, or she strikes, she strikes and she retaliates. And then to see her disheveled and Yeah, like she's just disheveled. And Margaret was actually shocked. Like I honestly think, and like I said, I like pigtails to a certain degree, but I honestly think that Margaret did not think she did that much damage, and that what Jennifer was saying, that like nobody knew about it, like she didn't I don't think Margaret, it computed in Margaret's brain that, oh crap, like she wasn't lying, that like legit nobody, none of her family members, none of Bill's family members, like nobody knew about this. And that's why she's taking this so hard, because Margaret was visibly like kind of shook when Jennifer basically said that, like, I don't even know if we gonna stay married. Like, I want to talk to my husband about this, but he doesn't want to talk about it. She was like, I feel bad wanting to talk to him about it, because for 10 years we've been good. We haven't talked about it. And now it's out there and it's bringing back all these hurtful memories because I did not deal with it. And he doesn't want to talk about it. And when Jennifer said that, like, she was like, she don't know if we gonna stay together, and she's afraid that they're not gonna stay together, Margaret's eyes lit up to the point where she was like, oh crap. Like, I cannot be the reason or the catalyst as to why these people don't stay together. Because as much as we like to say that Margaret is just like modern woman, at the end of the day, they are in Italian, they're in New Jersey, in a large, strict Italian area that holds very traditional values. And if it got out that Margaret told this rumor affair and it broke this family down, Margaret is going to be the town pariah and villain. Like, everybody's going to think she is the devil. She going to truly be Cruella de Vil. And I think she realized that, and that's why she was like trying to like sugarcoat it and be like, no, you know, he made a mistake. You and Bill love each other. Y'all will get through this. Because like I said, I don't think Margaret really thought, like Margaret even said, Margaret was like, you know, I didn't think it would hurt you this bad. I thought you would like be like waters off a duck's back. Like you said to your mom, why do you care about what people think? And I mean, my thing is like, yes, Jennifer was being a hypocrite in that instinct where it's like, why do you care about what people think? But at the end of the day, she didn't tell anyone. So to Jennifer's credit, like I've been saying, all the things that Jennifer has come back at Marge at has been because Marge has told all of us. This was something that she never told anybody, and you took it upon yourself to tell. Now, I'm not saying she's wrong for saying it, because Margaret and Jennifer go tit for tat. They both go below the belt, and we've seen evidence of that throughout the seasons ever since they started on the show together. But I don't think Margaret really thought that like she was gonna slug the crap out her opponent the way she has. So at the end, they end up hugging and like holding hands, and Jennifer says she want to make it right with Melissa, and she needs friends right now, because right now she not good. She's not good. If I was Jennifer, I would tread lightly with Margaret. I would tread lightly with Melissa, and I would definitely tread lightly with Jackie. And Dolores. Honestly, everybody on this cast I would tread lightly with, because honestly, I don't think any of them like Jennifer like that. I think they tolerate Jennifer because they know that Jennifer brings in a certain demographic and crowd of people that really likes her. But I don't think they really like her at all, in all honesty. And if I was her, I would watch my back with every single one of these ladies on this show. Okay, so the next scene we see is Dolores and Frank going to some boutique, and her lying, talking about she getting outfits for her mama. And I'm kind of like, first of all, you shouldn't even be in this boutique. It looks like a boutique for like 12-year-olds. I saw all them crop tops, and I was just like, Dolores, you came in there for yourself. So her and Frank are talking. They're talking about the mom getting better and about her doing surgery. They also talk about David. And this whole thing about the way David is treating Dolores is annoying me. And it's also annoying me how much the family is kind of okay with how he treats Dolores. Because, like, I'm like, if some dude was doing, like, my sister that way, I wouldn't mess with him. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to, like, hurt my sister. And Dolores is clearly hurt, but also I think that, like, I mean, it's still good that David's there because this is like a very serious situation. Like, honestly, if complications went wrong, her mom could have passed away. So I get it, and I get that he's like helping cull the anxiety of like the family because he is a doctor and he cares so much. But I just feel like he's like he used Dolores just to get her family. Like, I don't know if David has family like that, but for him to be so integrated in Dolores's family, it's weird. Like, y'all broke up. Back, sir. Back up. That would be my energy. Get away from my family. My family. Go to your family. So then we see, we find out that Tracy has decided to plan an event for them to do treescape. I hate those type of things. I do. I mean, like, I like going zip lining and all of that stuff, but like that team building stuff, and like, I know the harnesses always give you a wedgie. They're so uncomfortable. So like, I wouldn't have been down. I'd have been like, no ma'am, I don't want to go. But as she's inviting everybody to help with the group. The next scene we see, and it really annoyed me. Like, honestly, 2 scenes in here annoyed me the most, was the one with Melissa and Joe talking about Antonia, and then this one with Evan and Jackie talking about her getting help for her eating disorder. So we find out after she got her evaluation with the actual center that they recommended like 2 treatment plans for her. One was where it was like an inpatient treatment, I guess, where she would be there for a few months or a month and they would help her, you know, get on the right track. The other one was where she would come in like throughout the week for 3 hours out the week, I think for like a month or like so. And I think she would stay for 3 hours and something like that. I really didn't get the gist of it. But either way, it's like you went to that program, you went to the treatment facility for help, and now Jackie is so like, no, I know what I need help with. And I was happy that Evan was like, so we're not going to do treatment. Because the thing about it is Jackie is uncomfortable, and you could tell that she's uncomfortable, and it's understandable. But I was happy that Evan was like, so doing this treatment for like a month or 2 that can add on to your life 50 years versus not doing it. And she was getting a little pissy, and I was like, well, girl, just 2 or 3 episodes ago, you were legitimately breaking down saying you were scared to get fat or scared to gain weight, or like upset that your kids found out that you had an eating disorder, or like they are noticing the things that you do. And now you've been given this option of actually getting help, and you're not taking it. So it annoyed me, because I'm like, then what was the point of doing all of this, Jackie? Like, am I saying that like I want her to continue to have an eating disorder? No, but why bring it to the show if you weren't ready to actually get help? So now you have allowed yourself to be put in scrutiny, or be under the guise of more scrutiny that could possibly trigger your eating disorder to get worse. Because now a lot of people are looking at you like, so you not going to get help? So, and then the thing is like, you make yourself really look like an addict, like you genuinely have issues. And I'm hoping that she watched this episode back and realized how bad she sounds, because you have opportunities to get better and you're not taking them. So the next time you cry about your kids, it's kind of going to be like, do you really care if they know? Because you have options, lady. So like I said, the next scene that annoyed me was Melissa and Joe, because you can clearly tell that Melissa coddles her sons. Like, she's very like, she dotes on her sons, but she pushes her daughter aggressively. And I'm like, I feel like you need to switch it, because you moved your child, which I was like, it is what it is. You got to move when your parents move. You don't pay bills. But you can clearly tell that your daughter is going through something, and instead of like taking a step back and seeing like, okay, what are ways that I can help her, you just want to push her. And I understand where Melissa is coming from. I understand that when her dad passed away, nobody pushed her because everybody was grieving. She went out and got 3 jobs. She signed herself up for college, which I was like, well, that's what we had to do. So I don't understand why that's such a big deal. But maybe back in the day, that's your parents did it for you. I don't know. But she was the one that pushed herself. And I guess right now she wants to push her daughter. But like Joe, I was actually surprised that Joe was like, don't push her, like suggest things to her. Because she said, because Antonia, I guess, said the same thing to Joe about not wanting to cheer anymore or do tumbling. And I get where Melissa is coming from. I get that she's like afraid that if she doesn't push her daughter, maybe her daughter is going to regret it. But I also feel like you're doing this for you and not for Antonia, Melissa. Because if the girl is telling you, like, the best thing I think would be for her to go talk to a counselor if y'all really think that there's something wrong and that she needs help with. That's just me. Okay, so the next thing we see is Bill and Jennifer trying to attempt to have a conversation about everything. So we found out that they're trying to get a new housekeeper because them kids don't know how to pick up after themselves, which is Bill and Jennifer's fault equally. So the issue right now is Jennifer wanting to talk about everything. Jennifer feels like Bill isn't really defending her. She feels like, bro, I did, like, you know, I let you have this past about you cheating. Like, you should be telling everybody that, like, you know, I'm happy my wife stayed with me. She's this and she's that. Because I guess Jennifer was like, because if you don't know, Jennifer and Bill's marriage was arranged. So the first year they were getting to know each other. And Jennifer was saying how in the beginning, Bill would just criticize her. So she felt like if she was perfect, then he couldn't criticize anything, but he still cheated. So then she's like, well, what's the reason of being perfect if you're still going to like hurt me in that way? And Jennifer even tells Bill, she was like, you know, at that time, I did that because that's what was best for me to, like, I didn't harp on it. And Bill's whole thing is like, I don't want to deal with them no more. Like, I don't forgive them. You forgive them, but I don't forgive them. And I kind of, like, I'm a Bill. Maybe that's why I get Bill. Because I'm very much like, if I don't, like, if you do something to me and I just don't, like, I don't see it for you anymore, I don't have to be around you. Like, I can coexist. Like, we can coexist in the same space. But, like, I don't got to go to group events with you and your homie. I will stay at the house and watch Netflix or HBO or Disney Plus or Hulu. Like, we don't have to be friends. And Jennifer's whole thing is like, you need to defend me. And she was like, I'm happy that you redeemed yourself at boys' night, but I didn't like what you did at the thing. And honestly, it just seems like Bill is embarrassed, but I also feel like Bill is kind of like, girl, if you didn't deal with this 10 years ago, why are we bringing this up? But I was happy that Jennifer even said, she was like, I didn't deal with this 10 years ago, and now I'm dealing with it now. So you got to deal with it too, and you need to speak up. So hopefully they go to counseling and figure it out. Because Jennifer is reaching that limit of where she over it, like, big time. So the next thing we see is Margaret going to Jackie's house. I forgot to mention when Jennifer and Margaret met up that Jennifer basically said that Teresa, like, how do you know Teresa didn't dig? Because Jennifer's whole thing is like, I don't get why Jackie is so mad at me for looking for information. And Margaret's whole thing is like, well, you were looking for information after we all said that, after her and Teresa, like, you know, made up and they were all good to go. So what happens is that, basically Jennifer confirmed that Teresa asked Jennifer to ask about whether or not Evan was cheating on Jackie to like one of their friends in whatever area of where the gym is supposed to be. So Margaret is telling Jackie that Jackie is upset. And my thing with Jackie is Jackie got all this bark and this bite, but she don't never bring it to Teresa unless Teresa starts it with her. Because she's saying all this stuff about how she can't believe that Teresa would do something like that. But when they see each other at the forest, she don't say nothing to Teresa. So then the next scene we see is Jackie, Jennifer, and Dolores talking. We found out that Dolores' mom's surgery went well. That, like, right now her family is, like, arguing over whether or not where the mom is going to stay. Like, David wants the mom to stay with her, and I'd have been like, no. Her sister wants the mom to stay with her, and I think the brother as well. They then talk about, you know, boys' night and everything, and about, and Teresa's upset, because Teresa's like, well, did I tell y'all? Yeah, I didn't tell y'all, my bad. So the scene, they're at Dolores's house, and it's Dolores, Jennifer, and Teresa. They went to go check up on Dolores after her mom had her surgery. And they're just talking about everything. Jennifer talks to them about the meeting she had with Margaret. And then they get on the whole subject about Louis, the red flags, because Margaret was like, well, would you tell Margaret at the conversation that they had earlier in the episode, Margaret tells Jennifer, like, is Teresa, like, would you tell Teresa about the red flags you see with Louis? So Dolores' eyes just keep getting bigger. Like, she can't believe Margaret is talking or that Jennifer is telling all this information. Then you got Teresa mad at Tracy and Margaret. Those are her two targets. She like, Margaret need to shut up and stop talking about me and my man. Tracy need to shut up because Tracy, I haven't brought up the fact that she was her man's nanny and she was cheating on her. Like her Tiki cheated on his ex-wife, cheated on his ex-wife with Tracy while she was pregnant. And I said, see, that's what happens, Tracy, when you don't sit there and eat your food. You start catching strays. So Teresa basically says she don't really want to go to this escape thing, but she definitely is going to bring up like the tree escape thing. She was like, oh, I'm gonna bring it to them. She coming in. Everybody's there. The only person that like we're waiting on is Teresa. But before everybody got there, we had Tracy, what's her name? Tracy, Melissa, and Margaret having a talk. And basically Margaret tells them that like how distraught Jennifer is, and like all of a sudden now Melissa is feeling bad, especially when Margaret was like they might get a divorce. And I'm like looking at Melissa like, why do you care all of a sudden? Like, you was just in bed with your man talking about you didn't even think this is the thing that doesn't make sense. You and Joe were just in bed talking about you don't even think Bill likes Jennifer. Then your husband said that Jennifer was a horrible person or a bad person. Now all of a sudden you're like sad because you think her and her man about to get a divorce. What are these feelings you have, Melissa? So now Melissa feels bad. So then Dolores pops up. Then we got Jackie, and they're still talking about the situation. And before Jennifer gets there, they talk about how Margaret basically called the friend that like Jennifer and them have like in common. And the friend basically says that Jennifer called because Teresa told her to call. Because Jennifer was like, oh no, Teresa wants to know such and such and such and such. So Dolores trying to have Teresa's back and kind of like trying to put down Jennifer is like, well, we're all adults. Nobody can like force you to do it, which is true. But girl, you just don't want to put blame on Teresa. So they're all getting ready. The way the whole tree escape thing pops off is supposed to be like a like they pair and they're in pairings and they wear like blacked out goggles and the person has to guide them through the obstacle course. And so the pairing is Margaret, Melissa, and Jennifer together, Teresa and Tracy, and then Jackie and Dolores. Jackie and Dolores is the only one we got to see do the thing, and they worked it out, and they were cool and all of that stuff. Teresa comes with a nasty attitude. She over it. She coming in hot. But I will give Dolores credit that Dolores told Tracy and Margaret that Teresa was coming in hot because she was like, girl, just be ready. So she comes. Teresa was like, so who can I push off the tree first? But she had gifts of her athleisure wear. So they're like, so Margaret and Tracy was like, oh my gosh, she already violent already. And I said, yeah, y'all know Teresa don't care. So then she was like, Teresa's just like, she thinks it's stupid. Like Teresa was like, this is dumb. This is unsafe. I don't want to do it. So she doesn't even put on the harness or anything. Everybody else puts on the harnesses. Then things get kicked up. But before that happened, before Teresa even got there, Melissa and Jennifer had a conversation. They both apologized to each other. And Melissa says she's sorry. Jennifer says she's sorry and says she shouldn't have said those things about her family. And then Jennifer said, no, Melissa said she was sorry about the whole hands thing. And they deaded it right then and there. So when Teresa gets there, like, so back over to Teresa being mean and being a grump. They're all doing the whole thing. So then it's Jackie and Dolores talking. And Jackie's whole thing is saying, like, Jackie was like, I think Margaret is the real threat and Teresa's just all bark and stuff. And I said, girl, Teresa will put hands on you. If Teresa didn't have a case, I really think that if Teresa wasn't like a convicted felon, I think she would put hands on Jackie if she could. Or anybody of that nature at there. But we then see Margaret and Tracy talking to Jennifer because they're up there doing the challenge. And they're like, well, how do you feel about Teresa not defending you, especially finding out that now that we know she was the one digging? And Jennifer's like, I kind of knew Teresa wasn't going to like defend me. I'm used to it. And not knowing, like, and Jennifer doesn't know that Teresa did defend Jennifer the other day at the spa day, but Jennifer wasn't there. But Jennifer's just like, but I like my friendship with Teresa. We have the same values, and when we're together, we have a good time, but I know what it is. So Teresa's down at the bottom with Jackie and Dolores, and she just starts talking about the whole situation with Margaret bringing up stuff about her man, Tracy bringing up stuff about her man, and then the whole thing about about Margaret bringing up the whole affair comment. Jackie's like, but you don't think what you did to me was wrong? And what's her name? Teresa was like, but it's out there. I think Teresa's whole thing is like, your stuff was out there. None of us knew about this affair. None of us knew. And she was like, and I think also for Teresa, she feels like it's a double standard because all of y'all were really mad at me, but none of y'all are mad at Margaret. And I mean, I get it, but then again, Teresa, Margaret said that stuff straight to Jennifer's face. You walked around Evan's party at his birthday and asked everybody else about it. So then Margaret's like, we can hear you. And Teresa like, and I don't care. Yeah, you can hear me because I'm talking about you. And I said, well, at least she's not scared. So then something about you gonna look like she said you're gonna look like shit or something like that. And then oh no, Teresa said Margaret looked like shit, and then Margaret rebuttal was like, but you already look like shit. So then Margaret starts walking down the ramp because she was supposed to be guiding either Tracy or Jennifer across the ramp, because Jennifer and Margaret are like, no, we made up, we cool, we good. Jennifer even co-signed it. But then as like Margaret and Teresa are arguing, Margaret has her back turned to Teresa walking down the hill, and Teresa is steadily tracking behind her. And I said, Margaret, don't be stupid. You never turn your back on anybody when you have an altercation or words, whether or not you know it's going to get physical or not. But that's rule number one. You never turn your back behind nobody you have an argument with. But we know Margaret not scared, and we know Teresa not scared. And low-key, that's why Margaret and Teresa make a good like villain role for each other, is because neither one of them are scared. So if somebody's gonna say something, somebody's gonna press somebody, the other one's gonna press somebody. It's not evenly matched because Margaret can read Teresa, but the thing about Teresa is Teresa not afraid to like go there with her either. But Teresa's just not as eloquent. She's not really eloquent at all than the rest of the ladies. But yeah, y'all, it's said to be continued. So we'll see next Tuesday what's going to happen. They're not going to touch each other. We already know that. But that's it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. And drop down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Deuces.